They don't believe in God or devotion. Some people believe in God, but they don't reason with their lives. Both are not good. You need a combination of both. Sometimes you have to be really analytical, you cannot be simple, and sometimes you have to follow some sentiments and do it in a religious way where you don't start questioning things. So both are useful. Next. So there's an interesting chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, as we know, is a discussion between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. The Bhagavatam is also an equally important discussion because it goes into details. What is lacking in the Bhagavad Gita is practical application. Of course, Arjuna is practical application, but each one's situation is different. So this Bhagavatam elaborates in many things, and particularly in the 10th chapter where it's discussion about Lord Krishna, why he is the supreme God and why he is the supreme hero. Because the entire canto of 90 chapters is dedicated to glorifying Lord Krishna as the hero of the Bhagavatam. So in that, the 87th chapter, the Vedas personified. See, normally we have knowledge. Behind every knowledge system, there is a personality. If you carefully look at our knowledge, the roots of our knowledge, they came from some persons. So similarly, the Vedas, which means complete knowledge, is driven by some personality. So they present the prayers by the personified Vedas to glorify the personal and impersonal aspects of Lord Narayana. So if you want to understand things in this world, some things are manifest in front of us. You can observe them, you can relate with them, and that way you can follow them. But there are many things which you cannot perceive directly. For example, if I ask you who is your great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather, obviously you cannot tell anything about them. But it's a fact, because they existed, then your grandfather, then your father, then you came into existence. So there are some things within which are manifest and some unmanifest. This is a fact of nature, and that is the question being raised there. How we can get complete knowledge when only certain things are manifest and certain things are unmanifest. So King Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami. So King Parikshit is a person who is an emperor of the son of Abhimanyu and the son of Arjuna, and they are all the Pandavas dynasty. But he was destined to die within 7 days. So in the case of Parikshit, it is 7 days. In our case, it may be more, but nevertheless, death is certain. And nothing as sure as death. So he is asking pertinent questions to a very elevated authority, Sukadeva Goswami, who knows the purpose and essence of life, and he's how the Vedas can directly refer to the supreme absolute truth Brahman, since the Vedas deal with the material realm governed by the three modes of material nature. So the nature of this world is there's a constant flux. It's always changing. In this changing scenario, how you can get knowledge of the absolute, perfect knowledge? That is the question being raised. Nevertheless, the scriptures have been designed that even with this incomplete knowledge, you can get complete information. So this very important verse from the 11th canto. 11th canto primarily consists of discussion between Uddhava, who is a dear friend of Lord Krishna, who approaches him at the time of his departure to get complete knowledge, just like Arjuna approached Krishna on the battlefield, and Krishna spoke 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. But in the Uddhava Gita, in the Bhagavatam, Krishna elaborates in much more detail. Although Krishna has been glorified in the 10th canto, in the 11th chapter, it is mostly about Jnana Yoga, how people can approach God through knowledge. So in one section, there is this discussion on the Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya means analytical, to enumerate. So nowadays, everything has to be put in numbers for us to understand something. If I want to explain what are the dimensions of this room, I have to say what is the length, breadth, height, what is the weight, what is the time, everything has been enumerated. So this Sankhya Yoga section of the Bhagavatam, 22nd chapter, 8th verse, this is very important verse. All subtle material elements are actually present within their gross effects. Similarly, all gross elements are present within their certain causes. So naturally, in this world, everything is based on cause-effect relationship. If you have something happening now, it will produce an effect for sure. And if you are observing something, it must have a cause. There is nothing like spontaneous effect or spontaneous cause. So this is how, if we need to really understand this word, handle this word, solve the problems or manage this word, you need to know the cause-effect relationship or what is known as causality. So, but here this verse is saying that some of the causes may be gross. Gross means you can perceive them with our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and sense of touch. But their effects may not be visible to us. Just like the recent pandemic, the virus, nobody has seen the virus. Maybe you can detect it in some form. But in the original form, nobody can see the unseen enemy. In a war, normally you can see the enemy, shoot him down and capture him or control him. But in this scenario, you are trying to face an enemy whom you cannot see. So that is the challenge in this world. Although you can see the causes, sometimes the effects are hidden. And if you see the effects, the cause is hidden. You go to some doctors, they analyze the problem, they say this is your disease. And if you ask them what is the cause, they say there could be many causes. We cannot determine for sure. But as it is our nature to find out what is the cause and effect, so that we can predict and prepare ourselves or know what went wrong and how we can correct it. But this verse explains that this since material creation takes place by progressive manifestation of elements from subtle to gross. Thus, we can find all material elements within one single element. So what it says is that what is today's gross will become subtle, and what is today's subtle will become gross. So that is the nature of this word, known as manifest and unmanifest nature. That's why Krishna is saying in the 7th chapter that I will give you full knowledge, both phenomenal and numinal. Phenomenal means what you can observe and analyze, something which is beyond your perception. But this verse is saying that both are related. So if you know one thing, to understand one thing properly, then you can know even the hidden things. For example, you want to know the mind of a person. Whether a person is intelligent, what is his ego levels, what is his consciousness level. By the way he behaves, that's in the 2nd chapter also, Arjuna is asking Krishna this question, Sthita Prajna Ka Bhasha. So how does the learned person sit? How does he talk? How does he walk? How does he behave? How does he eat? How does he sleep? So what it means is, if you are observant properly, this is not the observation problem. We are naturally trying to purport means what is the essence of this verse is being explained in the commentary by several acharyas who have understood this properly.